We had 2 or 3 pages left, didn't we?
Three, I think.
We need to start at the top of page 20.
Right. I think so.
3 pages left. Charlie, kick us off by reading that first little short paragraph in the first paragraph, number 1, please, sir.
Church property. Any use of church property for any activity outside of the normal church programs shall be approved by the deacons for the following conditions. Weddings and funerals for our church members and their immediate families shall be approved for the requested date unless another wedding, funeral, or significant church activity has been already scheduled. I think that should be scheduled.
Probably.
There shall be no fee for the use of the facilities for this purpose.
Okay. Let's just go ahead and start with that. See what y'all see there. Think about that. Any questions or comments? Grade number 2.
The last building and or the gymnasium may be reserved for private use by church members. The intended use of the facility, e.g. private family party, must be disclosed to the church office upon reservation of the facility. The church office is authorized to reserve and approve the date for the requested activity. If there is any uncertainty in the appropriateness of the requested activity, the request to reserve the facility shall be referred to the deacons to render a decision. There shall be no fee for the use of the facilities for this purpose.
Thank you, sir. Y'all take a look at that. Think about that for a second. Any comments or questions? Miss Judy, number 3, please.
In all cases, it is expected that the authorized user of the facility will make a reasonable effort to clean the facility upon completion of the activity. Any damage to the facility resulting from the activity is to be reported to the church office the following business day.
Thank you. See what y'all think about that.
Reasonable effort to clean, right, Stephen? That's a big statement.
And maybe make sure it's all locked up when you leave.
And the lights out and the air conditioning.
I'm assuming that'll come up, but if it doesn't come up somewhere soon, then we might need to add that somewhere.
That's been, I don't know if it's happened lately, but,
Yeah.
I mean, since we've announced, you know.
I've gone in this office and the handle was locked and the deadbolt wasn't locked. And I'm almost positive the cleaning people did it. Almost positive, but I don't know for sure. So it was technically locked and the alarm was on, but the deadbolt just wasn't locked. Anyway, anything on 3? Miss Debbie, read the statement and then the first dot there, please.
Okay. Following conditions apply for all requested uses of the facilities. Each activity will be reviewed to ensure that the church's current insurance will cover the event. If any additional insurance is required, it will be paid for by the user at least 2 weeks prior to the event.
All righty then. Any comments or questions?
Who does the review?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I mean, what would be something that would be done that you didn't have extra insurance?
You would have to ask our insurance agent that question, because I don't have a clue.
Maybe put a rock climbing wall or something.
Put, yeah, if you put out somebody
Axe
put a
throwing.
zip line in the gym,
Zip line in the
something
gym.
How about that axe throwing?
Axe throwing, yeah.
You've seen them throwing the hatchets, you know? Honestly, that's a great question. I don't know who reviews it, and I don't know what would be covered and what wouldn't. I don't know.
Turkey shoot.
Turkey shoot. Just BB guns only.
Deacons,
David,
deacons have the authority.
the deacons would be the ones to make the determination.
Sign it and say, okay.
Okay,
To be reviewed
We
by
can
the
add that in
deacons.
there.
okay, all right. Who's next? Debbie? Yeah, Joe. Tighten up, buddy. That's you. Now you know the answer.
You still need to know what the insurance says, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And I don't think they'll give you a list.
I don't know.
I wonder if that would be something like it playing basketball out here or
It
something.
is, because we have that before. And anything that the church, quote, sponsors is covered.
Okay,
That's what we've been told.
gotcha.
We're gonna sponsor an axe throwing.
Okay.
Turkey shoot.
Turkey shoot.
Turkey shoot.
Miss Debbie, did you just read already?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Stephen, that second bullet point, please, sir.
The following equipment must be operated by church members unless specifically approved by the deacons. Piano, organ, or church sound system. Operators of sound system, piano, or organ shall be given an appropriate
Honorarium.
honorarium.
They're supposed to get paid.
Oh, I guess I knew what that meant.
I turned the volume up earlier. Is that?
You're a member.
Oh,
That's for guests only.
Did it say that? I guess it does.
Unless specified and approved by deacons.
Well, maybe it doesn't say that.
It says right here, unless specifically approved by deacons, so it says must be a member unless specifically approved.
But they
Well,
didn't
it just
say
says
members had to be
operators.
paid, right?
Well, we always paid Carolyn.
I think it's basically talking about piano and organ.
I don't know.
The sound person has, at one point got paid, didn't they? No? Maybe not.
I don't know about that. Sorry, Charlie.
well, don't tell Eli. He run the sound the other day. A couple weeks ago, we got him to turn it down.
Okay, how long, far does this go?
I'll read them other three.
Go ahead and do that.
No smoking in any of the church buildings. No animals allowed in any of the church buildings. What we gonna do if somebody's blind and they have to see an eye dog?
It's like a
I
service.
think that's okay.
Well, it says no.
I know.
So I can't bring my camel in here.
Maybe we
In
should.
other words, in other words, if we had a live,
Nativity.
nativity scene, we couldn't bring any animals in here.
Well, you got to do it outside.
Yeah.
To do it outside.
No alcohol allowed on church property. What we gonna do about our wine we serve for?
Let me run this to the truck real quick.
So, I'm just curious why it took till 2013 to put those three statements in there.
Yeah.
It's okay to them.
Well, the one about the animals.
We done it all the time, what?
I guess so.
We may need to put something in there for.
The one about the animals was because somebody was bringing their dog. I don't want to blame it on the cleaning people, but, and the church got fleas. from
Oh,
that
well,
dog.
it still
Yeah.
has fleas.
Well, we
Yeah,
get
we
the
get them. Yeah, we had them a couple
Charlie
weeks
was getting
ago.
ate up 2 weeks ago.
My
They
legs-
brought their dog in here.
My legs are just now healing up.
Judy,
What?
there was a wedding out here, and in the wedding party, they had a dog that walked all over the piano. Oh, my goodness. It left little paw prints and some scratch marks.
Mm.
That's what triggered that.
Wow.
One of the things that I don't see, and we might want to think about it, it says no smoking. I might want to change that to no tobacco products.
Just make the entire property tobacco-free. You see that in a lot of
Well,
places.
Tobacco-free campus.
Yeah.
I think we read that earlier.
Did we? We may have.
I think earlier in this thing we read where it says no tobacco products, no smoking on church grounds.
So,
Well, why do we have that ashtray thing outside? Or has that been moved?
We can get
No, it was still right
Yeah, I
outside
think
that
it's still
door, I
there.
think.
It can be gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, right here it just
Well-
says in the building.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, so
So-
it's one of the things that we need to
Think about it.
list as an item that we want to revisit, and then possibly have a rewriting and possibly have a vote to change it one way or the other.
Just have it all read like, no alcohol allowed on church property, do the other previous two on church property. That way
It
it
could,
would
it
cover
could just be simply
outside.
worded the same
on the
way.
grounds.
I get, yeah, I see what you're saying.
That mean people can't have it in the cars?
Well,
Pretty much.
it kinda does mean that, but I think you're allowed to have whatever you want in your car, I think, to some extent, because it's in your car.
Well, I don't know that you want to go completely smoke-free campus for visitors. I mean, of course, you don't want anybody smoking inside any buildings.
Definitely not inside. but
No, nothing inside,
I
or
can-
right out front.
I can promise you, after a number of funerals,
There's
it
a lot of
wasn't,
people
it wasn't 5 minutes, there were 3 or
Yeah.
4 people, if not more, standing at that parking lot, standing next to their
I've
car
seen
smoking.
that.
Right.
I've seen it on a number of occasions.
But what I have in
And I don't
mind
even
is
know how you enforce it, really.
visitors, somebody, because I smoked when I got here. I don't smoke anymore, so, but I'm sympathetic to somebody that may be a smoker that is seeking God and wants to come to church. I wouldn't, I don't know.
Well,
That's a personal
if
thing.
they were a guest or visitor, they wouldn't even know that we had this rule.
Right.
But, I mean, I would say, again, what's the enforcement mechanism? What are we gonna do, if anything, if somebody's smoking on the property? Are we gonna approach them and ask them to put their-
Citizens arrest.
put it out, buddy? I mean, what are we gonna do?
Right.
Well, a lot of places, hospital or anywhere, they have no smoking campus.
Just a
Yes.
sign,
Yes.
and I don't even think we do. I don't think we have any kind of sign, you know, about tobacco.
It's never been a real issue in the buildings, and I think that's where, the thing says in the building.
That's the main issue, kind
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. I mean, we've had smokers out here since I've come. But none of them were in the building. Most of them carry them outside smoking outside.
Well, y'all used to smoke cigars in the Deacons meeting, right?
That wasn't a cigar.
So, I mean, it's definitely something we can revisit.
Well, even if we went campus, the whole campus,
Tobacco-free
tobacco-free campus, which I'm all for, I don't think you should really enforce anything
We're not gonna
strongly,
write
unless we
tickets.
got members that continue to, visit or, of course, just use your head about it,
So, Stephen, go on and read that next one on the top of page 21.
Okay. Do not use real candles in the auditorium, as they get wax on the carpet.
No real candles.
and no real frankincense.
They can also catch on fire.
Yeah, I heard that.
That was.
All right, David, do that next one if you would, please.
The church affirms that all marriage ceremonies performed in the name of this church and any related celebrations or activities allowed in this facility shall be for unions that meet the standards named in the church constitution, see Articles of Faith 18. And further, the church ministers and staff engage only in marriage and ceremony in keeping with this church's adopted biblical and theological definition of marriage.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody
One man and one woman.
see anything there?
Now you gotta say biological man, biological.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got-
The unions recently changed. We make sure that
change
wording's
out
in
and
there.
say that, biological man or biological woman.
All right. Miss Charlene, Article 5, church year.
The church year shall be considered as January the 1st and December the 31st.
I got a problem.
That's complex.
Well, it used to be September.
Well, it used to be, yeah, 1st of October through September 30th, a lot of places did that.
All right, we can't let you off the hook. That was too short. You gotta read another one for us.
All right.
Article 6.
Ordinances, Section 1, Baptism. Responsibility for the administration of the ordinance of baptism shall rest with the pastor and may be administered in regular church services by the pastor, by another ordained minister of the gospel, or by an ordained deacon approved by this church. Section 2, Lord's Supper. Ordinance of the Lord's Supper shall be observed once per quarter.
Okay. Excellent, thank you, ma'am. Any comments or questions on ordinances? Article 6. We took a pretty long pause with the Lord's Supper because of COVID, but I think we're definitely going to get back on a more regular,
You can't use real wine either,
well,
since we have no alcohol in here. I told you, I went to a church one time, and the pastor, he said wine.
well, what we do is we just wait till that grape juice is old enough.
And that last time it was pretty close.
I drank the rest of it at home.
Goodness.
All right, Brother Joe,
Licensing
Yep.
and ordination.
Yes.
We went from Article 6 to Article 17.
yeah, something funny happened there on the article numbers. Why did it jump
Hey,
from,
there was some in there that were.
that we deleted? Gotcha. Okay.
Licensing. When someone declares his call to the ministry after a suitable period of personal examination,
The deacon board.
the deacon board shall serve as a presbytery in questioning the person. The deacon shall take their recommendations concerning the ministerial licensing of the person to the congregation for approval. If a license is issued, it shall be for a period of 4 years. At the end of 4 years, the license may be discontinued or renewed. The license may be revoked at any time if the licensee should prove himself unfit for the ministry. The same procedure may be applied to the licensing of any lay preacher, even though he does not feel the call to full ordination.
Okay, that was a mouthful, wasn't it?
There's a lot in that.
I didn't realize the license was only good for 4 years.
Well, so I don't know that I have ever been a part of a licensing exam, or even, the only person I've ever even heard talk about this is Marion Britton has told me a number of times that Levels licensed him.
They did.
Probably when, in the 60s or something? I mean, I don't even know when it would have been.
60s,
Huh?
late 60s.
Late 60s. Anyway, other than that, I've never been licensed that I know of.
Levels used to do that quite frequently. They had several men that were licensed over the years.
But if you sign a marriage certificate, a state marriage certificate for license,
As an ordained minister,
it didn't say anything about license on it?
No. Because you can do it as a notary public.
well, right, a notary can sign it now, but, yeah, ordained minister is all that's required for
So
that.
did, Marion have to get his renewed every 4 years?
No, what happens typically is after a license, you're licensed to preach.
It's kind of like a step
It's a
towards
step.
ordination.
Then if you want to become a full ordained minister,
Oh,
it's kind of a in-between. It's a chance for, what they used to say, it's a chance for these young men to see if they really were called.
Test the waters. Yeah, it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of going away. I'm not familiar with it very much at all.
I don't know, I've heard of anybody recently being licensed.
Now, you can buy one on the internet apparently, and okay, who read that? Joe, you read. All right, back up to the front, Charlie. Section 2, please.
Ordination, gospel ministry. Request to ordain a man will be honored only if he has been called to a definite place of service. When such a request is made, the church shall act upon it the same at a duly convened business meeting. Should the church approve the request, the church or pastor shall call council or presbytery to examine the qualifications of the candidate. If the candidate is approved, the council or presbytery shall in turn recommend to the church that he be ordained at a public meeting called for such a purpose.
Thank you, sir. What do y'all see there? Any comments, any questions? 3 is about half on this page and half on the next page, Brother Greg.
Okay. Ordination, deacon. The responsibility for ordination lies within the local church. When the church feels that some individual meets the scriptural and practical qualifications of deaconship and elects him to serve the church in such a position, then it becomes the responsibility of the church to ordain the individual to the deaconship at a public meeting called specifically for the purpose of having an ordination service.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions? All right, Miss Judy, Article 18, Financial Plan.
Being a New Testament church, we accept as rule and guide of faith and practice the New Testament plan of stewardship. We subscribe to a definite financial plan to support the kingdom of God, believing that Christ expects his disciples to be faithful stewards and to worship him with worthy offerings. Every member of this church shall be expected to support God's kingdom in compliance with the financial plan of this church as based on New Testament practices. It shall be the responsibility of this church to provide each member with one or more statements each year showing the amount he has given through the church. The church shall also provide each member with a package of envelopes to be used in making weekly offerings.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Anything on that? I was just curious about something that was read a while ago that made reference to Article 18 having to do with marriage. Anybody else curious about that?
That was a faith something, faith. Articles of faith.
So where is
18.
that? Where is?
Article 2, first page, Articles of Faith. And then 18.
Oh, so it's 2, not 18.
Well, maybe there's an 18.
Just read that.
Yeah, the family.
See Articles of Faith, -18.
Okay.
So the family.
That makes
God
sense.
has ordained the family as a foundational institution.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for clearing that up for me. I'm a little slow. Okay, that helps. Thank you. I saw a squirrel and I had to chase after him. Okay. Anything on the financial plan? Read that next little paragraph, Judy, a full explanation.
A full explanation of the financial picture of this church shall be made at each monthly business conference, and no information shall be withheld from any member concerning the financial picture of this church.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, anything on Article 18 financial plan? Any questions, any comments? All right, Miss Debbie, 19, please.
Quorums. Members present shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of the church business. Any question concerning the sale or transfer or mortgage or purchase of property amounting to $5,000 or more must be considered in a called business conference with no less than a 2 weeks notice of the conference given to the members.
Okay, any comments or questions? Is there any stories that go behind that, David, that you can think of?
No, some of these were changed over the
I was
years.
just wondering where it was added in 92. I didn't know if there was a story that you could think of that went along with that.
Well, they had,
authorizations for monies that were done, that they needed to, say, you gotta bring it before the whole church.
Okay.
Some of the, I can remember some of the, building projects they did, they went ahead and started them before.
But the church has the authority, the final authority of how we spend the money, right? I mean, we come together and we vote, and that's how we spend the money.
Yeah.
Right.
The church chooses not to come and vote.
Well, yeah, that's on them. Yeah, I just meant
Right.
there's not some other kind of weird law or whatever. I mean, we're self-governed. We take it in, we collect it, and then we vote how to spend it. Okay. All right, Brother Stephen, I think you get number 20.
Amendment. This Constitution and bylaws may be amended by 2/3 vote of those voting at any regular or special business meeting of the church, provided that the purpose amendment shall have been submitted in writing to the church and specifically announced at least 2 weeks before action is taken.
All right, so that's pretty important for how we move forward, right? And
But what, again, I'm saying the same thing I just said. So 2/3 of those voted, so if we were voting tonight, 6 of us would have to,
so there's 3, 6, 9 of us. So 6 out of 9 would have to vote yes, and the other 3 is just out of love. If you're against it, too bad.
yeah, but that's not a big it's not 2/3 of the church voting is the point I'm
It
making.
is not 2/3 of the church.
We haven't been able to get 2/3 of the church on a business meeting in years.
I don't think you get 2/3 of the church on
On
Sunday morning.
morning, that's right.
Well, that's the reason you got that quorum to vote. Members present shall constitute a quorum, so we have a quorum.
Well, I shouldn't have said it that way.
So, yeah, anybody else, any other questions or comments on anything in this Constitution and bylaws? And David, I think you've been keeping up with the stuff that we talked about.
I've already started about half of it,
Put together a compilation of,
put the rest of it together. Judy and I'll go over it and we'll bring it back.
I know the one biggest thing was converting from the Baptist Faith and Message 1963 to the Baptist Faith and Message 2000. Because we found where there was just different language, but essentially that's what we want to go with, I think. But it's probably something, we'll probably have to include that in the package whenever we present it to the church and vote on it, I would assume. All right. Well, that wasn't difficult. And honestly, it's kind of just dawned on me right now in this moment. I thought about this before, but it just re-entered my mind. There's not necessarily a plan for what we'll do next Sunday night. Well, actually, there is a plan that we're going to vote on Wednesday. But going forward, now that we've completed the Baptist Faith and Message, and now that we've completed this, I'm not sure what we're going to next. So maybe if anybody has a recommendation, I mean, we can go back to Bible study or whatever, but if you come up with something, let me know over the next couple of days. All right, Brother Charlie, what do we need to pray?
Pray for you a
I blinded
notebook.
him.
For you a new notebook.